Hi, family, and welcome to our midweek momentum. I am Jessica Mendoza, and this week I'm hoping to stir your heart with a particular question. What sustains you? Now, immediately you might be thinking something obvious like food, family, or walks outside. Maybe you're one of those sporty people, totally not like myself, who are energized by a trip to the gym, or maybe a little more like me, a visit to the nail salon or a monthly massage. But that's not exactly what I'm talking about here. Before we dive in, I want to share a personal experience that I had this week. Now, a lot of you know that I am a wife and a mother of four kids, 6 and under, actually. And this week, God opened my eyes to a particular area where I have been missing the mark. So as a large family, we have a pretty tight schedule. I mean, minutes are literally scheduled minute to minute, and it has to be that way when you're caring for 6 people's needs. I pretty typically have to manage the household alone in the mornings because Glenn, my husband, leaves very early for work. So this week, the kids had a vacation Bible school, and I was trying to be super mom. You know, I was getting them dressed. They had to be cute, ready, feeding them a healthy homemade breakfast, taking a shower myself so that I didn't look scary to the other moms. I was packing a bag in the car in case of any and all emergencies, needs, diaper explosions, anything you can think of. And most mornings, I make the time to sit down with the kids at the table and we discuss what we call the word of the day. And that is where I open the Bible, I read a scripture or two, and we talk about it and we make a plan for the day on what to focus on, what God is showing us, and what He's calling us to do. So this particular morning, we had been a little bit rushed. My homemade pancakes turned into sloppy bowls of Cheerios, and my shower turned into a messy bun and a baseball cap, and I completely forgot to even pack a bag, like forget it. So I noticed Jack, my oldest, giving me some attitude, and he was a little bit more sassy than usual, which is really not like him. He had a grumpiness about him as we packed into the car and we started on our way to camp. I tried my best to encourage him and to shake him out of whatever it is, but honestly, he was downright rude and super annoying. And I know if you're a mom, you can probably relate to that with your children. And if you're a father too, that your kids are sometimes annoying. I held up my hand at a stoplight and I just said to God, I really need you right now. Help. What is wrong with him? Clear as day. God spoke to me, and this is what He said. What do you expect when you didn't help him keep me first today? Oops. That's what I like to call a God mic drop. I had to sit with that revelation for the morning and ask God how to fix the issue. But you know the amazing thing about God? When we ask, when we seek, when we look to Him, when we have our eyes and our ears open, He shows up big time. And if you don't feel like He is speaking to you or you're not hearing directly from Him, we can look to the Word for clear instruction and counsel. Now, God is very clear when it comes to what position He wants in our lives. First, number 1. Let's look at Proverbs 3:6. It says, in all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will make straight your paths. In all your ways, acknowledge Him. Another translation says, seek His will in all you do. In our hearts, in our minds, our actions, our words, our plans, our shortcomings, our needs, our desires, acknowledge Him. Now, we don't acknowledge God because He needs to be filled in on what's happening or what's going on. He already knows everything in our hearts and our minds. He knows the things that we've done, the things that we're ashamed of, or the things that we try to hide. He knows it all. We acknowledge Him to partner with Him and to be strengthened and led onto the straight path, like it just said in that Proverbs. It would have been really easy that morning with Jack to have thrown off my day completely, to let the frustration and the mislaid plans screw with my feelings, or to take it as a personal attack against my mothering, which I have let that happen more times than I'd like to admit. But instead, on that day, I cried out to God for help. This also is an important part of being sustained by Him. First, we acknowledge, then we ask for help. Let's look at Psalm 55:22. Cast your burden on the Lord, and He will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved. Newsflash, you are the righteous. No matter how many mistakes, screw-ups, missteps you've had, we've all had them, whatever has been holding you back, or things you've been looking at in your past, let it go. Once you accept Christ as Lord, you are righteous, and God sees you as blameless. So own that. Own that. And when we reach up and out and we say, I can't do this on my own, He meets us where we're at, and He comforts us. He encourages us. He supports us, and He leads us on to the next thing. Psalm 73:26 says, my flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. This is such a wonderful promise because it is apparent and it's obvious that we all are going to fail. It happens a lot. And for me, it happens daily, honestly. But I'm very thankful for the second part of that verse. But God. But God. He is the strength of my heart, and He is the strength of yours. So are you utilizing Him? Or are you being sustained by something else? Perhaps it's social media. Here's a fun challenge. See how long you can go in the morning before you check Facebook or Instagram. Or maybe you have a gossipy friend who takes up a lot of your personal time and you find yourself being comforted by their words instead of God's. Maybe it's a shopping habit that finds you roaming the aisles when you don't need anything, but gives you a thrill and helps you feel better. By the way, all of these things are things that God has called me to address over the years and to get real about. I'd like to encourage you to take time this week and ask God to show you what things, habits, or thoughts you have that have been empty sustainers. I'm going to ask this one more time. Ask God to show you what things, habits, or thoughts you have that have been empty sustainers. Now, you're only going to receive this knowledge by spending time with God. That's the only way. You spend time with Him in prayer. Spend time with Him in the Word. You cannot be expecting to be sustained by Him if you're not spending time with Him. Now, after I asked God for help with Jack, He gave me clear instructions on how to make it right. And every morning since then, we have been a part of a new routine where we actively start our morning with God before we do anything else. Before the TV is turned on, before the dishes are started, before the milk is poured, we are there in the chair with the Word open, praying, talking. It's not easy every morning. It's not easy most mornings. But it's what God called me to do, told me to do, so I know that it's going to bear fruit. Big time. So expect God to speak to you about your next steps. I want to close with a well-known but extremely fitting verse. Deuteronomy 6:5. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. I'm going to endeavor to do this going forward, and I hope that you join me. God bless you, and remember how dearly loved and cherished you are.